Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of OK Zoomer, Zoom interviews with creative engineers and more. I'm Aaron Lichtig, a Xometry guy, former Jeopardy champion, and I'll be your host today. Today, we're joined by Zac Holcomb, and Zac is the CEO and co-founder of Additive America, which is a contract manufacturer located in Kinston, North Carolina, that helps companies adapt their manufacturing processes to utilize the advantages of additive technologies. And one of the biggest ones that they work with is HP Multi-Jet Fusion, which they run in-house, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And Zac has also become a real thought leader in 3D printing and additive manufacturing online. He shares a lot of machine maintenance and other good practices with his following. Would encourage you to check out his page, the Additive America page on LinkedIn. That's where he posts a lot of great content and where you can learn more about Additive America. So Zac, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate the opportunity, man. This is great.
Awesome. So first of all, tell us about Additive America and what kind of things y'all are focused on and what made you decide to launch the company.
Right on, man, for sure. So Additive America is, we're a contract manufacturer. We're in Eastern North Carolina. So we're about hour and 10 minutes from the beach, which is fantastic. So I'm a Columbus, Ohio guy my whole life. So I lived there for 31 years and then kind of got into this 3D printing thing and kind of got into the social media thing. I was like, this seems pretty cool, man. We can bring the internet to how we make stuff. This could be cool. And I kind of met some guys actually on LinkedIn, and then we got to talking. We're like, hey, this would be cool. Let's go try and get our own printer and start a little business and see how much fun we can have.
You met the other people on LinkedIn.
Yeah. My business partners I've met on LinkedIn because it's super crazy, man. The power of social media is amazing. It's truly amazing. Like I laugh at people all the time down here. I came from like a city where people were on social media a lot. This is a more rural area. And some folks are like, oh, you're on social media. I'm like, oh man, LinkedIn for your business is amazing. And when I tell them that story, they're like, wait, you're here because of LinkedIn? I'm like, yeah, actually, believe it or not. So it's pretty wild.
So what got you interested in 3D printing and in additive manufacturing more generally?
Sure. So I was working for a company in Columbus, and we were doing a lot of product development, like kind of like a service bureau. So we had CNC machines and did a lot of SLAs, and then a lot of the business was SLA printing and then finishing and then molding and urethane casting. So that was a large part of the business. And then while we were there, it was really fun. I was programming legacy SLA machines, 3D systems, programs or hardware from the 90s, and then which was kind of cool. I know we were programming, like was early machine I was programming was programming in you ran the machine in DOS. So it was an SLA 250, maybe like a dash 2 for some of those people, but you could only have 10 part files.
Okay.
So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, you could run 10 part files on a thing. So even if you didn't you had room for 100, the computer system could only pick up 10. So that was kind of a fun one to getting in. So I did a lot of that, and then doing programming with supports was always kind of a fun game. So that and getting all the parts onto the platform. So it was like I dug Tetris as a kid growing up. So kind of programming SLA was like Tetris to me. And then we started doing the HP machine, and then it was like 3D Tetris and no supports. And so it was like, oh, this is really cool. So that's why I got kind of like really engulfed in it.
Nice. And so what made you decide to work primarily on HP Multi-Jet Fusion? What are some of the strengths you see of that process?
Sure. Yeah. For me, the value or where the HP Multi-Jet Fusion really shines is it gives you, for me, in my personal opinion, it's the most, if you're going to have one machine, one technology that's running one material. I was actually thinking about this morning. If you were going to have one and only one material and tech and all that, for me right now, it is PA12 on the HP hardware. There's not, to me, a more versatile all-in-one thing that requires the little amount of man time to operate and expertise. So it takes a lot of expertise at the front end of programming and maintaining the machine, but the post-processing of the HP stuff is there's a knack to it, but its repeatability is there. There's a lot of software or a lot of technologies where you get into it and you got to have several folks that have the tribal knowledge of how to post-process and make everything look really perfect. And for me on the HP, it's very easy to scale. because the post processing is very simple and it can be trained and taught really easily, in my opinion. So that, and then that's kind of what's working for us is I don't have to find a lot of really skilled hands. I can, we're doing a really good job right now of we're hiring in young people that have that go-getter mentality, attitude, that high motivation, high drive, positive attitude. They don't know anything about 3D printing. They don't know anything about manufacturing. But we're bringing them in. We're like, this is a bead blaster. And in 3 days, they're like, hey, check this out. We figured out how to do this with the bead blaster. So that's been what's really cool for us. That's what I like about the MJF technology for myself.
That's awesome. It's great to watch people learn and pick that up and see them start to build those new skills in real time. Now, you've done a lot of work at Additive America and also in your role as kind of an influencer and a teacher. So what are some of the big trends that you see that you think will influence 3D printing moving forward?
Sure, man. I think these digital conferences that we've been seeing pop up, Link 3D has done a great job of them, but the digital conferences are here to stay. I mean, I was on a podcast, an unrelated, not additive manufacturing podcast in the fall. And I actually mentioned on that podcast, I had just moved to this town. And I was actually saying on the podcast, I'm like, there will be a time in the next 10, 15 years where we're going to stop going and fly into Chicago to go to AMUG. We're all just going to go to our offices, or we're going to go up to that room upstairs or the closet at home. We're going to put on VR headset and we're going to sit there like this. And I'm going to peruse through like a video game, the whole conference. I'm going to chit chat with people through a Zoom, just like I am right here. We're going to walk around the different tables, all that. And the people that heard me say that, they're like, this dude is off his rocker. Like, the guy's losing his mind. And I didn't think that it was happening in spring of 2020 by any means, but dang if it's not. And I think that's really cool. I think everything digital is coming, and it's going to stay. And the folks that adapt to it quicker are the ones that are going to win out because of that. Like I said, the internet is coming to manufacturing, I think. And I think that the way that companies in our industry market themselves is adapting. The place and where they're spending money to market themselves is going to change. I mean, we're not going to spend money. Companies aren't going to spend money to have a booth at 60 shows anymore. There's not going to be the foot traffic anymore. That's changing. They're going to start spending that money on YouTube ads. They're going to start costing you and me more money now. So all that stuff is going to start changing. In my opinion, that's what's going to start happening. Social media allows, and the whole internet and all that, it's allowing companies to pop up out of nowhere, literally, like Xometries and Additive Americas and things like that are popping up out of nowhere, and they're able to really, really, really absorb a lot of market share while the market's really budding too. So it's kind of like a perfect storm of a couple of things to me. But yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome time.
Yeah, and those trends, especially as it relates to trade shows, moving from the physical world to the virtual world, really have accelerated over the past couple of months.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just look at the stock price of Zoom in the last 6 months.
Man. Oh yeah, for sure. I wish I would have bought that a few months ago.
No doubt.
And we're filming this on Zoom today, by the way. So yeah, we couldn't have even done that just a year or two ago. So
exactly.
Switching gears a bit, what are some of the coolest 3D printing engineering projects that you've seen out there recently?
Sure, man. A lot of the projects, I mean, I'm biased towards a lot of the patient care projects personally. Those are really striking a chord to me. Like I said, I was with a company for a while and doing service bureau work, and using additive manufacturing is really awesome and everything, and it's all good, and you do it for a few years and it's cool and everything's fun, and putting parts on cars and tractors and assembly lines and everything's really cool. But kind of seeing the way that it's starting to affect people's lives in a more direct way for me is what's been really interesting to watch. And it's not just the stuff that we're doing, it's lots of companies are getting involved in it and doing a lot of really interesting things like that. So for me, it's that largely as a whole is how additive manufacturing is really starting. The customization at scale and how that's affecting folks' lives is what's really awesome for me to watch right now.
Yeah, and some of those trends sure have accelerated over the past month or so as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like the custom production is going to kind of be a jam here. I think we're going to see a little swing of stuff. Folks going to be wanting to simplify their supply chains, bring things back in a little tighter to the vest, I think is what's going to happen. And then folks have always wanted customization. I mean, it's always been a cool thing. And now that the feasibility of the economics all coming together on that, it's going to be interesting.
Nice. What advice would you have for someone out there who's interested in additive manufacturing and wants to start their own company like you did, wants to take that next step?
Sure. Man, super duper unconventional. I'm kind of like an anti-college person, and people kill me for it, but I think for 98% of people, college is the biggest waste of time and money ever. To me, it's a Ponzi scheme, and I digress from that a touch, but I think if you're really wanting to get into additive or any industry that is extremely young in its infancy, that going to school may be a waste, and maybe taking that 2 to 4 years and finding a place that's doing what you want to do, that has a person or a leader there that's pushing things, or that it kind of inspires you. I think going that route, at least for me personally, going that route is kind of a good way to break into an industry like this and kind of be ahead of the curve, especially with taking advantage of the age game there. You're able to get in at someplace 18, 19, 20 years old, and maybe you're not making the money there during the day that you need to pay your bills, but you go bust that night job anyway that you would be working if you were doing school during the day. Some people get weird about like working for not a lot of money and then going and working a second job to pay the bills. It's like, yeah, but you're getting great experience here. I think in an industry such as ours, to go and say, I've got 2 years experience at a Xometry and Additive America, of this company, that company, or the other, I think personally that 2 years of experience working there is more valuable than a 2-year associate's degree, at least looking to hire. So I think that's kind of the thing. I view it more of like the tech industry now is the new trades. And I think some of those apprenticeship style roles are going to kind of come back in.
That's really good advice. And some of the best additive engineers that I've met have very, very little formal training in it. They've gotten it all on the job. They've gotten it all by teaching themselves, learning from other people. And I think with this industry evolving as fast as it's evolving, that will continue to be very necessary. All right. Well, Zac, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really a pleasure to have you. Everybody listening, please go check out Zac's LinkedIn page, both his personal LinkedIn page for Zac Holcomb, as well as the LinkedIn page for his company, Additive America. It's spelled like it sounds. Well, Zac, thank you again for joining us. Audience, we will be back in another couple of days with another great episode. Be sure to tune in then. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Aaron.